Welcome to the Tunica Show. What we are doing at this point in time at USTPA is settling the cattle for the show that's going to start later this weekend. What this means is we bring in 30 head of cattle and 3 riders, and we start working in front of the cattle the way Brian is at the moment. And it's helping the cattle learn to stay on the back wall. And when one breaks away like that, what we want to do is go gather it up, bring it back down the pen, put it back with the herd, and teach it that it's supposed to stay with its friends back here. And we will go through, we have 400 head of cattle. We will do this with every group of 30. And the whole process is to get the cattle comfortable staying here on the back wall and comfortable with horses going through them in a controlled fashion. We do not do what we call take too much air out of them, and that means where we just get them so quiet that you can run through them real hard. But we do want to get them where they're not this scattery. At the moment, these cattle that are being brought in are very bright. They're anxious to see the whole arena, and you can see the person going into the herd is called our settler. And the people out here are called the line people that are trying to contain the cattle on the back wall, even as the person settling cattle rides through them. And I would say, as you're watching this, these cattle tend to be brighter, more fresh than often is used. So what will happen is we will indeed settle these cattle longer. We want to get them relaxed in here a little bit more, and that's why the gentleman's trotting through the herd. See how they're starting to circle, starting to respect the people out there on the line, so that when we do indeed start the penning show tomorrow, the penners have an opportunity of success. They can't get real stupid with the herd, but on the other hand, they won't step to the herd and they'll go running down the hall and end up with a no time. And even as we're watching this tape, you can see the cattle starting to settle a little bit more. See how these broke off to the left. The turn back stepped up, stopped them. See how the cattle now are starting to curl as a group back into the corner. Brian will come in, split the herd again. See how they're rolling. This is what we want to see, the cattle kind of going around and going back to where they're supposed to be. Brian will come back around front, help his turn back people collect the cattle. He'll push them back against the wall a little bit again, and then he'll cut through them again. The reason he hesitated there, he wants these cattle to get a little bit used to people being out front and just letting them kind of take a deep breath and relax on this back wall. Now see how he's walking along the back wall? And again, the objective for the line people is to take these cattle, go ahead and curl them. You'll see Brian come back into view here, and I anticipate he'll keep going off to the left. Now they did change up a bit on me, because the other thing we do is after they're settled up at this end, we do take the cattle to the other end of the arena and we walk them through the pen. And what will happen is we will slowly push the cattle through the pen here. There's a gate on the back and they'll come out the gate. What we find is with this gate on the back of the pen, it helps protect the cattle, because as they come in, they have a place to go ahead and escape out the back versus coming in, banging into the pen, and then people having to ride into the pen to bring them back out where they entered. So this is a safety feature that helps the cattle. It actually helps the show go faster because the cattle release and come back. But you can see from the point where this video started to where we are now, how much more the cattle are relaxed. I mean, they're still bright and they're still going to be runny, but they are now workable. And you'll see Brian come up to him again. He came in with a little bit of speed, and see how the cattle are turning? I mean, they're coming off that back wall some, and we still had a spirited one that decided to take off. But that's why we come back and do this. We want to take those guys that are the red-headed stepchild and get them used to staying back here and not trying to be the Lone Ranger running down the pen. So we'll bring this steer back up to the herd again, and Brian will push it back in as his turn back brought it up, and he'll go back to working the herd again. But see how much more they're honoring the turnback people at this point? That's what we're after. And this is called settling the cattle. And it's something we do with every herd.